These are three true stories about homes that should have stayed empty. Whether it was something in the attic, behind the mirror, or behind a locked door, these people moved in and learned too late. They weren't alone. Story 1. Footsteps in the attic. When I bought my first house at 29, I thought I'd found peace. It was a small, old-style house with a sloped roof and red brick walls, perched on the edge of a northern Pennsylvania town. It wasn't too old, built around the early 70s, but it had something somber about it, like it had stood there forever, silently watching everything. The house had a small attic with a door off the hallway between the two bedrooms. No one lived up there. I rarely went up, just stored a few old boxes and an empty suitcase. It started the second week after moving in. One night I woke up around 2:30 a.m. to the sound of creaking wood above my head. I lay still, listening. Creak, creak, creak. Very faint, like slow footsteps on the ceiling. At first, I thought it was a stray cat or a squirrel, but it didn't sound like scratching or scampering. It sounded more like human steps. I climbed up to the attic the next morning. Nothing. No tracks, no animals, just dust coating the floor and my boxes. I tried sprinkling a thin layer of talc powder around the floor to check, a trick I learned from my dad. The next night, the footsteps again. But this time, they lasted longer. Not just a few steps. It was walking from one end to the other. I bolted upright, heart pounding. I grabbed a flashlight and went up to the attic right then. And I saw footprints, clear, heavy, like men's shoe prints, stretching in the exact direction I'd heard, from one corner to the other. I checked the attic window, still locked from the inside. No one could have gotten in. No animal has prints that big. I started feeling unsafe, but not enough to leave. I set up my phone camera to record all night, aimed at the bedroom ceiling. The next morning, the audio had a clear stretch of noise at 2:37 a.m. Thud, 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 then silence. After that, something dragged lightly across the floor, and a tiny whisper, too faint to make out. I sent the audio to a friend who works in sound. He just said, "Not sure, but the end sounds like someone talking under their breath." A week later, I tried sleeping with the attic door cracked open, camera aimed straight at the entrance. Nothing for the first 3 nights. But on the 4th, when I reviewed the video, I saw the darkness in the attic shift. A dark mass, retreating from the edge of the door. No face, no human shape, just a black shadow, backing deeper into the dark. I stayed at a friend's for a few days. When I came back, I tried one last thing. I hung a string of small tin cans in front of the attic door, a trick to know if it opened. That night, 2:44 a.m. Ting, ting, ting. I heard the cans clink together. I ran out. The door was still shut, but the cans were swaying, very slightly, like someone had just walked through or cracked the door and closed it again. I put the house up for sale a month later. The buyer was an older woman who didn't ask much, toured the place for 10 minutes, and put down a deposit right away. I asked if she was sure. She just looked up at the attic and smiled. "I think this used to be my home." I didn't ask more. I packed my stuff, left, and didn't look back. But sometimes, at 2:30 a.m., I still hear footsteps in my head. Not a memory, but I know it never stopped. Story 2. The Man in the Mirror. I once rented an old apartment on the second floor of a historic house in Vermont. The landlord was an old man who lived downstairs, kind, and almost never left his place. My apartment was small, vintage style, with old wooden floors and a low ceiling. I liked it, until I started noticing the mirrors weren't like normal mirrors. There were 3, one in the bathroom, one at the end of the hallway, and one hung directly across from my bed. I wasn't new to old things being a bit odd, but the bedroom mirror was different. It started with tiny details. I felt the reflection in the mirror lagged, like I'd turned my head, but the figure in the glass didn't move right away. Just a beat slower. Subtle. But I noticed. Then one night, while brushing my teeth in front of it, I saw someone standing behind me. A blurry shape, human-like. Standing in the doorway, not moving. I spun around instantly. No one. I lived alone. The front door was locked. No sound. I checked the mirror. No cracks. No warping. No weird optics. I called the landlord and asked about the mirrors. He just said, "Those mirrors were here before I moved in." I didn't replace them because the house is used to them. That stuck with me. I started feeling watched every time I passed a mirror, especially at night. One time, at 3 a.m., I woke up to use the bathroom. As I passed the hallway mirror, I saw myself smiling. I wasn't. I was standing straight, face blank. But the reflection gave a faint smile. I turned away fast. It was gone. But I was 100% sure the figure in the mirror wasn't me. I covered all the mirrors with blankets. I had peace for a few days. Until one morning, I woke up to find the blanket over the bedroom mirror on the floor. No fan, no open windows. But the blanket was neatly pulled aside, like someone wanted me to look again. I started documenting everything. One night, I set my phone to record myself sleeping. Camera aimed at the mirror across from the bed. The video ran 4 hours. I didn't watch it all, just fast-forwarded. But at 2:47 a.m., I saw the reflection move before I did. I was asleep, hands on my stomach. But in the mirror, my hand lifted slightly, then waved. I shut off the video. Didn't watch it again. That night, I took the mirror off the wall. It was heavier than I expected. Taped to the back against the wall with old adhesive was a yellowed piece of paper. If it smiles before you, don't look back. I moved out that week, didn't tell the landlord, didn't explain. I just handed back the keys and left town. I took nothing but my suitcase and laptop. But 3 days later, opening my coat pocket, I found a small mirror shard. It wasn't mine. I don't remember putting it there. I threw it in the trash. And that night, standing in front of the bathroom mirror in my new place, for a split second, I saw myself in the glass blink a beat slower. Just one beat, but I knew it hadn't gone anywhere. Story 3. The room that was never opened. At 25, I moved in with my aunt for a while after losing my job. She lived alone in an old wooden house in rural southern Indiana. The house had 2 floors, a small basement, and one thing that struck me as odd from day one, a room always locked tight. It was at the end of the upstairs hallway, right across from my room. The door was always shut, its brass knob tarnished. When I asked, my aunt just said, "Old room. Not used anymore. Don't worry about it." I didn't press. My aunt was introverted, quiet, and a bit distant, but curiosity simmered. Once, passing by, I tried the knob. Locked. No windows. No light from the crack under the door. Like the room didn't even exist. One day, I saw my aunt standing in front of it, hand resting lightly on the wood, eyes closed. When I asked, she flinched and only said, "Don't come near this room after 10 p.m. Okay? I nodded. But that night I stayed up late. At 1 a.m. I heard something scratching behind the door, very faint. Not mice, not wind, like human nails on wood. I pulled out my phone, recorded. The 15-second clip had static, and 3 soft taps on the door at the end. The next morning, I played it for my aunt. But when I hit play, it was just a faint whisper. No words. My aunt went pale. She deleted the file right away, then stared at me for a long time. "It knows you heard it." I gave an awkward laugh, thinking she was joking. But that night, I woke up to soft, steady knocks on my bedroom door. Tap, tap, tap. I opened it. No one. But the other door was cracked open slightly. I walked over, heart pounding like a drum. I didn't plan to go in, just to close it. But the moment my hand touched the knob, someone or something slammed hard from inside. Boom! I stumbled back. My aunt raced upstairs, pulled me up, shut the door, locked it, and hugged me tight. I'd never seen her that scared. After that, she told me, that room used to be my little sister's. She vanished from it one night in 1973. The police found no trace, no broken windows, nothing. She'd kept it locked since. But sometimes she heard lullabies coming from it at night. I planned to leave. But 2 days later, while packing, I found an old photo in my room's dresser drawer. It showed a young girl standing in that room, with a small mirror and an open window behind her. Behind her was a blurry figure, no clear face. On the back, in handwriting, "If you see it, it will find you." My last night there, I couldn't sleep. I sat with the light on, eyes glued to the door at the end of the hall. 1:47 a.m. Door still shut. 1:51 a.m. The knob turned slightly. Not fully open. Just a nudge, like someone checking if I was watching. I stood, about to yell for my aunt, but I couldn't speak. My throat locked up. And then, from the gap under the door, a small female voice. "Big brother, open the door for me." I left the next morning. No goodbye, no looking back. But tonight, in my new apartment, I hear faint scratching from the wall at the foot of my bed. Not a door, but I know. It's finding a way in. Thanks for watching. Lock your doors. And whatever you do, don't open the room that's never meant to be opened.